You wake up to the sound of boots scraping against frozen earth. Not the polite shuffle of a well-fed town, but the hard, impatient scrape of men who never quite sleep, who rise in darkness before the frost lifts, hungry for something they may never find. The canvas above you groans with morning wind. Your back aches against the straw-stuffed ticking that serves as your bed, and the wool blanket covering you smells faintly of old sweat and damp flannel. Somewhere nearby, someone is already cursing, soft, muttered words carried by the chill. Your mouth is dry, bitter. You slept with the taste of yesterday's beans still clinging to your tongue. You sit up, the air bites your cheeks. Outside, the world is a slurry of brown, mud, boots, and the pale pink light of a California dawn just beginning to spill across the hills. Somewhere, a tin cup clatters. A shovel scrapes rock. A cough cuts through the quiet, deep, rattling, the kind of cough men get out here. Miner's lung, they call it, or worse. You swing your feet over the cot. The boots are stiff, always stiff, but they're still here. No one stole them in the night. That's something. The tent flap lifts. Amos, your bunkmate, peers in. His beard is wet with dew. His eyes are red-rimmed, but he nods toward the mess tent. Coffee's up, beans too, oatcakes if you're quick. And just like that, the day begins, not with fanfare, just with the promise of bitter coffee and the faint hope that today, maybe today, you'll strike something that glitters. You join the queue near the fire pit. The mess tent is nothing but canvas strung between trees, sagging at the corners. The fire is already low, its wood wet and hissing. Smoke clings to your clothes. Someone hands you a tin cup. The coffee inside is black and angry, scalding but weak. Breakfast is a scoop of gray beans and a hard slab of oatcake, barely sweet, but it holds shape in your palm. You eat with one hand and watch the fire crackle. Around you, men mutter. Some talk about a strike upriver. Someone found color in the gravel. Someone else says it's just rumor, just fool's talk, like every other rumor here. You don't speak. You listen. You learn early not to say too much out here. Words cost trust, and trust can cost your life. The older men speak in low tones about water rights, claim jumpers, and the price of pickaxes at the supply tent. One man, Red Pete, laughs about a letter he received. "My wife's asking when I'll come home," he says, and the laughter that follows isn't kind. Most of these men don't have homes to return to. That's why they came. You chew slowly, imagining warm bread, butter, fresh eggs, a feather mattress, things you haven't seen in weeks, months. Your claim lies a few hundred yards down the gulch. It's a narrow cut of land staked out with rotting posts and a canvas marker that flaps in the wind. There is nothing romantic about gold mining. You crouch, cold water rushing over your boots, and begin the ritual. Shovel, sift, strain, hour after hour. No music, no glory. The pan feels heavier than yesterday. Your hands sting with cold, and still you search, you pan, you hope. Sometimes you find flakes, bright and delicate, like sunlight trapped in dust. Other days, nothing. You've known miners who sold their last blanket for one more week of digging. You've known others who struck rich and disappeared, never seen again. And sometimes You wonder if they ever existed at all. Around you, the sound of metal on stone echoes across the valley. Men grumble. A man upstream curses, his cart collapsed. Someone further down cries out, "You don't look." If it's bad, someone will fetch the doctor. If not, they'll walk it off. You keep digging.
It's near midday when you spot her, walking past the ridge near your claim. The woman wears a blue shawl, faded but clean. She carries a small basket and walks quickly, eyes down. Not many women here, fewer still who walk alone. You nod as she passes. She nods back, barely. Her name is Clara, you learn later. Came west from Ohio. Her husband died of fever 2 winters ago, but she stayed. Teaches a few children when she can. Mends clothes for a price. Knows how to boil willow bark for fevers. You see her again later, at the pump. She carries water in a copper bucket and hums something soft and slow. You ask what she's singing. "It's a hymn," she says, without looking at you. And for a moment, there's something like peace, something almost tender. Out here, even a conversation feels like a gift. Supper is stew, thin, salty, with floating bits of carrot and potato. You're lucky tonight. Someone added squirrel meat. You eat slowly. The stew warms your chest, and for a moment you forget your fingers are blistered. Someone tells a story about a man who struck a vein so deep he dug until spring. Died of infection when a rat bit his leg. Found gold, though. Bags of it. No one laughs. Afterward, you walk to the edge of the camp where the pine trees begin. The stars are out. Cold wind picks up, tugging at your coat. You think of Clara, of the way she held that basket, of the quiet in her eyes. You wonder if you'll see her again. You wonder if anyone will remember your name when this is all over. You sleep in shifts now, not by choice. There was a fight last week, 2 tents over. A man slit another man's hand open with a broken bottle over a stolen pick. No one saw anything. The blood dried on the frost. So now, even in the dark, your boots stay close, your knife closer. Your tent smells of wet leather, sweat, and the sour rock of old canvas. The cot sags in the middle. You wrap yourself in a wool blanket patched at the seams. It's always slightly damp, no matter how long it's hung. Wind whistles through the seams. Mice scratch somewhere near the footlocker. You listen to the sounds of the camp at night. Coughing, shifting, whispering. A quiet cry. A laugh too sharp to be sober. And underneath it all, the constant tension. The feeling that something could go wrong at any time. Out here, nothing is ever safe. Not your claim, not your food, not even your name. By midday the next day, the air smells of pine pitch and lamp oil. The camp has a small saloon, a rough shack with whiskey thinner than vinegar and a piano that plays only 2 good octaves. You stop in sometimes, not to drink, but to hear the stories. Men talk freely when they're tired, and out here, everyone is always tired. A Chinaman named Lei sits at the corner table, carving something from bone. You nod. He nods back. You don't share words, but there's a mutual understanding. He leaves small offerings at a tree near the edge of the creek. Coins, incense, something wrapped in linen. He never speaks of it. You ask Amos about it once. He shrugs. I ancestor stuff, I reckon. He's quiet, harmless. But you wonder, what do the old gods say out here where the soil bleeds and the sky stays cold? What does it take to feel protected? That night, a fire breaks out near the smithy. It's out within the hour, thanks to buckets and frantic shouting, but 2 tents burn to the ground. No one dies, but someone's claim maps go missing. Another man's mule runs off in the dark. Fire doesn't sleep, someone says, and neither should you. You get a letter, 2 weeks late. The envelope is soft from rain, the ink smudged. It's from your sister, back home in Illinois. She says the baby has a cough, that Pa's leg still aches, that they miss you. You read it twice. She asks if you've struck gold yet, if you met anyone, if it's beautiful like in the stories. You don't write back right away. You don't know how to say that no, you haven't found gold, that the beauty is only sometimes when the sun hits the hills just right, or when Clara walks by humming that song again. Instead, you fold the letter and tuck it under your cot. You'll write back eventually. You always say that. It rains for 4 straight days. Not a gentle rain, a hard, slapping, sideways kind of storm that turns the gulch into a river of rust and silt. The dig site collapses in places. The creek overflows. A cart tips into the mud and sinks like a stone. You dig anyway, because if you don't, someone else will. Your fingers blister, your boots never dry, your food spoils faster. One night someone steals a sack of flour from the storage shed. The cook's salt pork instead, served cold. You see Clara again, kneeling at the small graveyard behind the trees, a wooden marker in her hand. You don't ask who she's burying. She doesn't cry, just stands in the rain, lips moving silently. It starts with a cough, then a fever. By the time the second man dies, they know it's more than just bad stew. The water, tainted by runoff from the upstream camp. Someone suggests boiling it. Others refuse. Old habits die slow. A boy, no older than 15, goes missing. They find him downstream. Face pale, lips blue. He was trying to get water from the clean spring by the ridge. Fell in, broke his neck. No one sleeps that night. The camp doctor, Dr. Marin, a tired man with shaking hands, tries his best. Boils cloth, mixes herbs, bleeds a man with a broken whiskey bottle. 3 more die. Amos helps you dig the graves. He says, you get used to it, but you don't.
You see Clara again, this time in your tent. She's there when you return one night, sitting beside the cot, her shawl folded in her lap. I brought you something, she says, a small tin of lard biscuits, still warm, sweetened with wild honey. You sit, eat, say nothing. She talks softly, about Ohio, about her husband, about the girl she used to be, before the wagons, before the camps. Then she leans forward, eyes steady. "Leave soon," she says. "If you stay through winter, you won't survive it." You nod, but you both know how hard that is. She stays a while, then she leaves, and the tent feels colder after. You sleep without dreams. Weeks pass. The rains stop. The fever wanes. You find gold. Not much, but enough to shine in the pan. You hold it in your palm, small flakes, fragile, gleaming. Amos sees it. His face tightens. That's worth a mule, maybe. A ticket home. A start. You think of Clara, of her shawl, of her warning. Later that night, you catch Amos searching your footlocker. You don't fight him. You don't need to. You just sit, quiet, until he stops. His eyes burn with something like regret. "I wasn't gonna take it," he mutters. You nod, but you both know the truth. You rise early. The air is warmer now, the ground less cruel. You pack lightly what you can carry, your pick, your knife, your boots, a satchel with dry biscuits, the letter from your sister. You reach Clara's cabin. She opens the door before you knock, says nothing, just walks beside you toward the ridge. Together, you leave the camp behind. The sound of shovels fades, the scent of smoke and sweat replaced by pine and sky. You don't look back. You just keep walking. You settle in a small town 3 valleys over. You trade your flakes for bread, soap, and a bed that doesn't creak. You write your sister back. Tell her the baby will grow strong, that you'll be home by spring. You don't say how close you came to dying, how many didn't make it, how much of yourself you left in that gulch. Clara teaches school again, bakes, plants things. You build fences, fix roofs. Sometimes when the fire's low, she hums that hymn. You don't know the words, but it stays with you. You dream less often of gold, more often of green fields, of sweet biscuits, of kindness in blue shawls. You wouldn't last a day, they say, and maybe they're right. The mud, the cold, the hunger that eats your insides before it ever touches your belly. The quiet betrayals, the friendships that flicker and vanish. The beauty that's rare and fleeting, but unforgettable when it comes. You wouldn't last a day, but you did. And now, at night, when the wind whistles past the eaves and the fire crackles low, you remember. The weight of the gold was never in the pan. It was in the price you paid to walk away.